Hey everyone, you know who I am by now, no introductions, but another Resident Evil game is on the horizon for iPhone 15 and iPad M1. Resident Evil Village. You know Resident Evil Village, the sequel to Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Well, it's coming to the iPhone 15 and the M1 iPad. Or, the empowered iPads, M1, M2, and the upcoming M3. I did not expect this. It seems that Apple has made a deal with Capcom to bring Resident Evil 7. And I couldn't be happier because I don't know if you know this, but this video you are currently seeing right now is by MK Ice and Fire. I just took it off YouTube and I have no intention of infringement. I'm only using this to demonstrate that we could potentially get a PC level Resident Evil Village on iPhone 15 and iPad M1. And I also used this video because I don't personally have Resident Evil Village. I don't have a PS4 or a PS5, and it definitely cannot be played on a PS3, but I'm hoping it does get to PS3 eventually. If it doesn't come to PS3, then I'm okay with that because it's coming to iPhone 15 and iPad M1. Now, there's a lot of articles, especially by IGN and Wikipedia, that state that Resident Evil Village is coming to iPhone 15 and M1 iPad Pro. You know what? I gotta stop saying M1 iPad Pro because you already know it's for the M1, M2, and M3. I'll just say empowered chips. So it's coming to iPhone 15 and empowered chips in late 2023. So, as of the recording of this video, it is September 24th, 2023. If it comes in December, that will be 3 months from when Apple announced that Resident Evil Village was coming from their Wanderlust event showcasing the iPhone 15 on September 7th. So, 3 months away. We are 3 months away, guys. Are you stoked? I am stoked. You guys better get stoked because I will be covering this, or at least making a review on it, for the M1 iPad Pro, as I'm definitely not going to get the iPhone 15 Pro because that thing is expensive and I already have a M1 iPad Pro, but I'm going to be covering this when it releases, and when I do beat it, I'll be making a review. So subscribe to make sure you don't miss that. But there is a caveat to playing this game on the iPhone 15 Pro. Well, there's two caveats. One is that currently it's only going to be available for the iPhone 15 Pro and the M series chips. That's going to be a deal breaker for some people because not everybody has an iPhone 15 Pro or an M series chips. And I kind of wish Apple didn't make... Before I get to that, let me give you the second caveat. The second caveat is that, according to IGN, Resident Evil 7 is going to be playable only at 30 frames per second. Now I know people are going to say 30 frames per second, like it's going to be jumping all over the place. Well, I am happy to report that it's going to be a stable 30 frames per second. You don't have to worry about it fluctuating at all. I mean, of course, in combat, it's going to like dip because, that's intense, but overall, it's going to maintain 30 to 24 frames per second at all times, which is actually really quite remarkable when you think about a game of this caliber coming to Apple devices. Back to what I was talking about before. Not everyone has an iPhone 15 Pro or M6 chip. And to be honest, the PC requirements of this game are not that huge. A lot of different things can run this game, so it's not a very demanding game. At the minimum, you need 8 gigabytes of RAM to play this game, and at the maximum, you need 16 gigabytes of RAM to play this game. At the moment, it only seems like it's coming to the Apple devices, or the modern Apple devices. But, hey, at least we can play this game, right? I mean, Androids can probably play it through emulation, so that's a good workaround. And I know Switch can actually play this version of the game through cloud gaming, which is essentially the PlayStation's remote play, but hey, the Switch can play it. Not natively, but they can play it. In fact, I am going to show you some gameplay of the Switch version of iCloud. I mean, not iCloud, but yeah, iCloud, because Resident Evil 7 is running through iCloud. Resident Evil Village is running through iCloud on the Switch. So I'm going to show you some gameplay of that to compare it to the PC and see how it would transfer when Resident Evil Village does come to the iPhone 15 Pro and the M1. Okay, so this is by YouTuber Open Surprise, but already you can tell that he's using iCloud to play this game via servers. But check it out. It doesn't look that bad. I mean, it looks worse than the PC for the opening cutscene, but it doesn't look that bad. So if the iPhone 15 one does look like this, then I wouldn't really mind, because it doesn't seem, based on this opening cutscene and throughout the gameplay, that the Switch has that would indicate this is majorly downgraded from the PC one, which makes sense because this is running through the cloud and it's streaming from a data center where the game is actually running. So, yeah. The only caveat is that because the PC is so much more better than the Switch and has much more advanced hardware, the Switch OLED that Open Surprise is playing on, so it's a little bit better in color and contrast than the regular Switch, but you can still see there's a lot of saturation going on compared to the PC, which isn't that bad, but it's definitely nowhere near the quality of the actual PC when you run the game on, which is understandable, but hey, I mean, Switch players can play this game too. So, now mobile, or rather, now iPhone 15 and M1 players can play this, and Mac players. So, that's a caveat, but downgraded graphics is not a big sacrifice to running a 2021 modern Resident Evil sequel to Resident Evil 7 on iPhone 15 and or M-powered iPads. I don't know if I stated this already, but I don't have any intention of infringing on Open Surprises YouTube video. I'm only using this for the demonstration purposes of comparing the Switch cloud version to the PC version to the eventual iPhone 15 and M-powered iPad versions. So then, that way you all can get a sense of how good it might look or how bad it might look in comparison. Anyway, I don't want to make this very long for you all to watch. This was only a way to compare the Switch iCloud version to the PC version to the eventual iPhone 15 version and ARM-powered versions. So anyway, I will say this, and that the Resident Evil Village was released on May 7th, 2021. So, as to date, it has been about 2 months and not 2 months, but 2 years and 5 months, or 2 years and 8 months, depending on if this comes out in December, that any iOS game or iPadOS game has come to Apple devices. That's a good outlook for Apple gaming at this point. I know it might not be the best, as in what consoles can do with their daily games, but 2 years and 5 months is not that bad for Apple. Let's be honest. Any mobile device isn't really prioritized for gaming, and especially for Apple, they're not prioritizing gaming. The only other game comparable to this game would have to be Alien Isolation, and that's only because they're both story-driven games and they're both FPSs. So, that's my 2 cents on it. Take that what you will. But to me, I just think this is a good indication about the future of Apple device gaming. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but hey, we now have choice from console gaming to iPad to iPhone gaming. So hopefully it continues, and if it does continue, I can actually see maybe the Batman Arkham series coming to iPhone or iPad, or maybe even Resident Evil. I mean, not Resident Evil, but Final Fantasy 13, or maybe even the newly released Final Fantasy 16 coming to iPhone and iPad. But that's only if Apple can make a deal with Square Enix to get Final Fantasy 16 on mobile, because them porting Final Fantasy 16 only to the PS5 was not a smart move by Square Enix. They're losing a lot of money from that. So hopefully that's also another incentive for them to bring Final Fantasy 16 to not just iPhone, but mobile in general, just because I know I know they're going to make another one, and I'm assuming that for Final Fantasy 17, then they won't make that same mistake where they just release it exclusively on one console. Because at the end of the day, they want Final Fantasy 16, in my opinion, they want it on every platform. So, yeah, it's gonna be. I just really want Final Fantasy 16 on mobile. But anyway, back to the PC gaming of Resident Evil Village. I know I didn't really give that much gameplay of it, but hopefully this will suffice. I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe because I will be covering more surprising AAA PS4 games like this in the future when they do release on either Apple or Android devices. And there are a lot of games coming out to Apple devices this year that you would not suspect that could run on an iPhone or an iPad. Have a good day, everyone.